Hi, this is Richard Blade, and you're listening to the Blue Zone Podcast Network as it presents Permanent Record, an in-depth look at the classic albums of the 70s and 80s, albums which have earned a permanent place of honor, both in our hearts and in our record collections.
Well, Sarah, I must say you're looking very elegant this evening.
Why, thank you, and you are looking quite dapper and distinguished yourself.
Oh, because I'm wearing a suit and tie?
Yes, you look extremely fancy.
Thank you for noticing, Sarah.
Well, of course I noticed.
Yeah, this is the most dapper we've ever been for a recording session for the podcast.
Yes, I'd have to agree.
We're clad entirely in black.
We are.
I'm wearing a black suit, black shirt, black tie, black nail lacquer, as John calls it. We're totally gothed out for this episode of the Permanent Record Podcast. Welcome, everybody. I'm Brian.
And I'm Sarah. And we are glad to be here with you again to talk about the biggest goth band around, Erasure.
Yeah, why did we get all gothed up for an Erasure discussion of all bands?
It doesn't quite match, does it? Well, that's okay, because we love goth and we love Erasure, and why not combine them? The real reason that we are dressed up in these goth clothes and fancy outfits is because we just got back from celebrating a wonderful wedding. Our friend Jose just got married, and we were lucky enough and honored enough to be a part of that wedding, and it was really, really fun.
It was a lot of fun. A lot of Susie and the Banshees played, some Depeche Mode, Sisters of Mercy. Like, it was the wedding to be at this weekend if you wanted to be at a wedding.
Yeah, it was super fun.
So Jose is also the artist who did the artwork for our limited edition t-shirt that we're giving away currently, Sarah, if you recall.
Yes, that's right.
For these Erasure episodes.
Yes, it's a fantastic t-shirt and a fantastic prize that you can win along with the CD from Shay Lowenstein.
That's right. So don't forget, we're in the middle of a giveaway. All you have to do to win the Permanent Record t-shirt and the Am I Right EP.
That's correct.
4-track EP. And you may notice that if you listened last time, we didn't know who sent us this EP to give away, but Sarah just dropped the name. We do know now, and we're going to get into that in a second. Let me just finish the thought that all you have to do to enter in the drawing to win these cool prizes is just send us an email at permrecordpodcast@gmail.com and just put something in the subject line like Erasure giveaway or something. Let us know you want to be in the drawing, and we'll enter you in that. And the deadline for that is going to be Saturday, November 4th, because we will announce the winner on the next episode when we finish up our discussion of Chorus.
That sounds like a good plan, and I hope everybody tries to win, because I think it'll be a great prize.
So, Sarah, you mentioned this gift was generously donated from Shay Lowenstein.
Yes, and we we finally know the answer to that question that was plaguing us for far too long. We had this CD to give away for quite some time. We thought we saved the email where the person actually told us about it and gave it to us. We couldn't find it. We sent out a plea for help, and thankfully, Shay Lowenstein responded and said, it was me.
Yeah, Shay is a great person. He's been supporting our show and writing to us since all the way back in May of 2018.
Oh, my goodness.
That's how long he's been
5 years.
Tolerating us.
More than 5 years.
Thanks so much to him for his support over the years and for giving us this cool CD to give away.
Yes.
We had a good number of entries already in. Some people are really excited to get this CD because it's got a good mix of all the hits from this album. So folks are excited, and we're excited to have it to give away. So thanks again, my friend. We really appreciate it. And sorry we forgot your name in the first episode.
But now all is well. We've been getting all kinds of good feedback on this episode, all kinds of memories too. So that is exciting. And we have one to share with you later on today.
Yeah, that's right. We received 2 Erasure chorus memories from folks who called our voicemail numbers. And we're going to play one in this episode, and we'll play one in the next episode. So we have something for each one.
That's wonderful.
So stick around after the main part of the episode, and we'll listen to that Erasure memory and respond to that, and then give you information on how you can also call us with your Erasure memories. So we're going to get to the main part of the episode. We recorded this with the great Andrew Dineley of the Art on Your Sleeve podcast and, of course, Classic Pop Magazine fame. And you can get all the details on Andrew's podcast and his design work at softoctopus.co.uk. The link will be in the show notes. So be sure to check that out. He has some exciting podcasts coming by the end of the year. I can't announce anything, obviously, because I'm not going to steal his thunder. But he told us offline what he has coming up, and it's extremely cool.
Yes. So definitely keep your eyes on that website. Follow him on social media. When we're allowed to talk about it, we'll talk about it too. But, give him a follow anyway, because he's just a cool guy and shares all kinds of great stuff. So now that we've got your interest piqued.
Yeah. So this is the episode with Andrew. Don't forget, I told you all about this last time. I'm not going to go into it again. I messed up. I didn't mess up, but I'll take the heat. Someone's got to take the heat, so it'll be me. The recording got messed up, and so this is the Zoom file, the backup file. So it's not as great sounding as we would like it to be, but it's good. It's fine.
I think the content will be good enough that you won't necessarily notice any poor quality sound.
That's true. That's the thing right there.
Yeah.
So enjoy this discussion of side 1 of Erasure Chorus, and we will talk to you on the other side. All right, so we are up to our track by track, and we're becoming so long-winded in our old age that we're actually putting a time limit on each of the songs. So we are going to spend 15 minutes talking about a song that was a single and 10 minutes talking about a song that was an album track. You're going to have to fight for your airtime on this one, guys. So no need to be polite. Just talk over top of each other. Just have this be the most chaotic thing anyone's ever listened to. Sure, it'll work out great. And I'm going to set a timer for 15 minutes, and we're going to talk about the title track. It's called Chorus.
Go ahead with your dreaming for what it's worth. Oh, you'll be stricken down, kicking up dirt. For when it's dark, you never know what the night will bring. Go ahead with your scheming and shop at home. You'll find treasure while cooking up more.
What a start. Whew, I'm so excited.
You are firmly on the dance floor.
Oh, yeah,
with this.
Absolutely. Yes, dancing and dancing. And I know I wasn't the only one. Let's talk about the chart positions real quickly. On the UK indie chart, this got to number 1. How about that? Very, very cool. But on the regular UK singles chart, it only reached number 3.
It premiered at number 3 and was at 3 for 2 weeks before it started. 7-week process of dropping off.
Okay. Well, I know you like to, when things are at that level, you like to talk about what was ahead of it, right?
Oh, I do. I do like that.
All right.
Andrew, do you remember what songs kept this from number 1?
I don't remember, but when you tell me, I'll be like, oh, yeah, of course it was that. So go on.
All right. Well, both weeks that this song was number 3, the number 1 song was Any Dream Will Do. Do you remember that one?
Oh, God.
It looks like you've just lost the will to live, my friend.
So this was, of course, this was, Jason Donovan. So kind of post Stock Aitken and Waterman. A lot of those artists are still around, but not necessarily releasing songs that have that classic Stock Aitken and Waterman sound. But yeah, Jason Donovan was just huge. Yeah, he was a massive star in the UK.
So yeah, he was number 1 both weeks. And then the first week, the number 2 song was I Want to Sex You Up by Color Me Bad. And then the second week, the number 2 song was Everything I Do For You by Bryan Adams from the Robin Hood movie.
Oh, God. That makes me... because that was just around. Is that still in the charts now? It felt like it was.
I know. That song was everywhere all the time.
Just wouldn't go away, would it? I didn't realize it was massive in the States as well. I thought that was just
big time. Yeah.
Curse on the UK.
No, we were cursed by it as well.
If you're going to skip away, let me just offer up really quickly. It was a top 10 hit in Denmark, Ireland, Switzerland, England, US dance singles, and Finland was really close. Finland took it to number 12.
Hey, that's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, on the Dance Club Play chart, it got to number 6 in the U.S. And on the U.S. Alternative Airplay chart, it got to number 4.
Yeah, Erasure always did really well on our U.S. dance charts.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That's where I would always check in Billboard in the 80s. And every 12-inch single they released would basically go top 10 on the dance charts. They were very successful.
Yeah, so that was a really good, strong start right out of the gate for them. I do have a Smash Hits review for this song that I would love to share with you.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Sylvia Patterson, as it turns out. So
interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know if she was doing both jobs at the same time. And this was June 12th through 25th, 1991. So this is crazy. So I don't know what happened. Reading the interview the review from Select and compared to this, and is this the same person? Because it's single of the fortnight in Smash Hits. And it starts off, zoinks. So that's a really good start. Zoinks. There's no mistaking this one, listeners. It starts off with the mental blips of last summer's Sheffield house sound and thunders straight into an anthemic keyboard wobbler, a bit like Madonna's Till Death Us Do Part, with bit of Adamski's sweeping bloopy noises before he went mad, and a gigantic chorus, hence the name? Probably not. It's all about the fishes in the sea being dead, so it's probably deeply ecologically sound or something, but sounds mightily uplifting anyway. The Sure are back. That's like short for Erasure. And thank goodness for that, because they've always firmly grasped the plot that is pop, and this is their best one for ages. More power to your perv tights, missus. P.S. And it made the household cat jump out of a first floor window nearly, and you can't say fairer than that.
Oh, interesting. Maybe she didn't play this track when she listened to the album there. Very odd.
Maybe she's playing to her audience.
Yeah. What she said about Adamski actually is spot on. That kind of, particularly with the track Killer, that kind of crunchy analog electronic sound is definitely in here. Never really connected it before, but I can see that definitely. It's funny thinking back to this time as well, because I was very much on the club scene at this point, and you mentioning that it was a big hit on the US club charts, pop charts. It wasn't something I remember it being played in clubs here. It wouldn't have been considered particularly dancey, I don't think, or I certainly don't remember it being a big club hit here, which is interesting, isn't it? It's the difference between the US and the UK.
Yeah, I bet you that part of its success on the dance chart was simply based on how successful they had been previously. I bet you that if this had been the second single off the album, it maybe wouldn't have gotten as high in the dance chart, but it was just the excitement of a new Erasure 12-inch single. We've got to get this and we're going to play it regardless of what it sounds like. I mean, you can dance to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's not their best dance single.
No, but it's one of the most danceable songs on this album.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Yep.
For sure.
You know Ange's Erasure page?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I sort of forgot all about that page in the time since we did our last episode, but I refound it, and I was really, really surprised by the review on that page. Ange says that the album's namesake song chorus opens the album in a rather mediocre manner. A repeating verse or second chorus and nonsensical lyrics do not make this one of Erasure's better efforts, but it did do well in the charts as a single, so it appears I'm in the minority and not holding this track in high stead. And I was so thankful that Ange put this on the site, because I'm in their corner with this. I do not understand why the band was so high on this track as being the first single. I wasn't crazy about this song at the time, and truth be told, I'm not all that crazy about it now. This is my least favorite song on the album.
What?
And it's kind of good to get it out of the way. Like when this plays, at least I know, hey, everything else that I'm about to hear is better than this one. But I was shocked because Classic Pop Magazine did an article called The Top 40 Vince Clarke Songs. I don't know if they asked you to give any input for this one, Andrew, but this song came in at number 28 on that list. And they comment mostly on the video and not really on the song. But I think 28 is so ridiculously overinflated for this. And I think that I made a little list. I think all but 5 of the songs Vince had written at this point are better than chorus.
What?
Yep.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Wow.
Yep. Or the 5 songs that I like chorus better than are La Gloria, Star, I Before E, Except After C, What's Your Name, and I Sometimes Wish I Was Dead. Other than that, sorry, I don't think this deserves to be on Vince's top 40 songs.
Oh my goodness. This is insane.
I love it. Andrew's face, he looks shell-shocked right now.
I think he looks disgusted as well. And I'm fully support that look on his face.
Shame on you.
Now, I sort of exaggerated that just for effect to make you guys shocked.
Yeah.
It may be my least favorite track, but that doesn't mean that I dislike it and that I don't enjoy it.
Okay.
I sort of don't enjoy the verses that much. When it gets to the chorus, I love singing along with the chorus, but it seriously is my least favorite song in the album. And I remember at the time being very unimpressed by this song as a single.
Wow.
US radio was never going to play this song. The first 15 seconds of it are too weird. Our radio at the time never would have played this.
Well, that doesn't mean you can't like it.
I know. I'm just saying that's why it didn't succeed here.
It was that weirdness that I liked, though, because, coming through acid house music and all of that, just, bubbly, weird bleeps and boops and things. It was all, I just loved that. So hearing them embracing such hard electronics and, in the intro, as you mentioned, just my ears pricked up immediately. It was like, wow, what is this? Mm-hmm. And such a radical step in a different direction from the previous album. Well, like I said earlier, I bought the single and loved the single, and it's interesting. It was obviously a very important song to them to name the album after it as well.
Yeah, I hear all these electronic sounds in this track now, and they definitely do appeal to me. Like, I think it's very cool that they made a song out of noises and things. But when I listen to Erasure, I want very clean synths. I don't want static electricity.
You certainly didn't get those clean sounds with Snappy on the B-side, did you? Because that was very, very kind of gritty electronic disco pop. That, for me, you talked earlier about the Delight track, What Is Love, and it being a track that influenced the sound of the album. Out of any of the songs from this period, that's the song that I think has What Is Love DNA in it. You can hear it in the sounds in there and the samples. There's even similar samples, if not the same samples in that track. And it's a really hardcore dance track that I loved at the time. And it's still in my Erasure playlist on my phone. But all of the B-sides were strong at that, and we will talk about them as we go on. But I think that, in terms of creativity, none of those tracks were very few of them were throwaway tracks that you often get on B-sides, particularly later on for Erasure. That's the case. But up until this point, they were still firing on all cylinders for me.
It was called Snappy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check that out because I don't remember it.
You'll probably hate it, Brian. It's very... No, it is Erasure-y, but it's not pure crystalline synth sounds. It's crunchy nightclub in the dark sounds.
Well, keep in mind that I'm going to be talking about a lot of things that I thought at the time of release in this episode, more so than usual, just because my opinions on this have changed so much. So don't think that I'm a big grump who's not open to new Erasure songs.
All right.
And this is Snappy is a song I must have heard if it's on the Erasure box. I just can't think of it off the top of my head. Did either of you guys check out the video for this song?
Well, of course.
What'd you think about that clip? Did it remind you of anything?
Well, I remember at the time just being quite shocked at Andy Bell's hair.
I know.
And the dungarees and things. It was like, everything was different, but I liked it. But I can't remember if it reminded me of anything. I haven't actually watched it recently.
Okay, we watched it yesterday, and it instantly makes you think I'm not going to say copying, they're paying tribute to David Bowie's Ashes to Ashes because of this beach. Yes. The visuals get all like colored oddly, like saturated in color. And it turns out it's the same director. It's David Mallet. Yeah. And he actually said, I didn't mean to rip off my own video, insists David Mallet. I just thought that the world that Andy sings about on chorus sounded as if it could be this slightly surreal moonscape kind of place, and it seemed to lend itself to the same beach. I couldn't believe it.
Interesting. But they've been on the beach for Ship of Fools as well, hadn't they?
That's true.
Yeah, but the beach wasn't quite the same. I took screenshots from both videos to perhaps post in the show notes just to show the similarities.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andy's hair was out of control. We're going to get some bad Andy Bell hair in the first 3 videos.
Oh, my goodness.
Before he finally reins it in.
The contrast between the two of them is just so striking. I mean, I said to you when we watched it, I said, it looks like a city mouse, country mouse thing going on because Andy's in his overalls and Vince is in his business suit, very, very proper. Another interesting contrast is that Vince appears in black and white or kind of gray throughout the entire video, while everything else around him is in color.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome because I'm pretty sure they just did that practically, like in real life. I think he's just made up, like with makeup and clothes, because they didn't have the budget to isolate Vince Clarke himself in the video and make him black and white. I think he's really wearing like black and white clothes and stuff. Don't you think?
Well, we'll never know because we've run out of time.
Oh, that stinks.
All right, so everybody, we're going to do our last licks, final word. Anything that you may have been robbed of saying that you really want to say about this song, go ahead and say it. We'll start with our guest, Andrew.
No, I don't think so. I think I think I've said it all really about this song. It's still a good song. Unusually, I liked it at the time, and I still like it now.
I think this is a tremendously strong album opener, and it makes me excited for what's to come. Whether that pans out or not is another story, but
Very good.
It's a good start.
This has the sound of grown-up, maturing dance music. Andy's doing some impressive things with his vocals, and I was used to my bands maturing because Depeche Mode had matured with Violator and kept everything that I loved about them. But at the time, guys, once again, I'm going back a lot on this episode to at the time, so I'm going to come off as dour because people are going to hear me saying bad things about it. At the time, Erasure seemed to be sacrificing part of what made me love them, and that was the cute little riffs like Brother and Sister and Who Needs Love Like That. So I was upset at the time, but I had hope that when I heard the entire album, I would be very happy. And ultimately, in the year 2023, I'm extremely happy with this album. Keep that in mind.
All right.
All right, so that's going to take us to the second track on the album. So this is Waiting for the Day.
But in a fit of blind arrogance, you stood up and walked away. If you'd given me half a chance, I'll be waiting for the day, but you, oh, come back to me, come on back to me,
Brilliant album track. For me, there's so many tracks on here that could have been singles. You know, if you think that maybe Chorus wasn't as commercial as some of the other tracks, there are plenty of other songs in waiting that could have stepped up for that role, really. And this is one that certainly is up there for me. Waiting for the Day, waiting to be a single, because it's so catchy. It's more traditional Erasure than perhaps Chorus was. Catchy pop song, very, very memorable. And again, a bit boring to keep saying the same thing, but I still really like it now. I think it's probably in my iTunes on my phone. Yeah, it's got everything that I want from Erasure. It's a bit weird, but it's also very, very catchy and something you can sing along to. And yeah, it's even quite dancey, isn't it? So yeah, I liked it then, and again, I liked it. I still like it now.
I remember telling someone at the radio station back in college at the time, oh, wow, Erasure is now writing music for my parents to listen to when I heard this.
But it's got that mad bit in the middle where it all goes. It's sort of atonal, blippy electronic. Your mother and dad would have been very confused by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would have shut that off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I love about it, that it's, whilst it is a commercial song, it's still got weirdness about it. And I think that's what we were saying earlier about the whole album. The songs are there, the craft is there, but the production makes them a bit edgier than we're perhaps used to, a bit more kind of uncommercial. But it's definitely a really, really strong song, and that weird production adds to it for me. I remember at the time just thinking I really love the direction that they've gone on with it.
I needed to grow up to appreciate this album for what it is. And all the problems and my stories of the past are me. I hear this now, and this is some wonderful Erasure musical magic. I just needed to mature a little bit to understand that.
So I mentioned that I have excerpts on each of the songs, or little reviews for each of the songs from that Sound on Sound article. And a lot of the times they're followed by comments from Vince. You know, the author will say something and then Vince will respond. And in this case, that's what I've got here. The author of the article says, nothing subtle about this, an insanely, ridiculously catchy slice of timeless synth pop, quite reminiscent of Victim of Love, 3 Minutes of Heaven, and surely a single. And Vince says, no, the record company wanted it, but I thought it was too cheap. No, wrong word, too obvious. It's a bit of an ABBA pastiche as well, you know, like The Day Before You Came. So I thought that was very interesting. First of all, Vince, I got to disagree with you on not wanting a song to be released because it's too obvious of a single. but you know, I guess it's all in what you want and what you're trying to accomplish. And it's interesting to me that he says that this song sounds like Waiting for the Day. Andrew, I know you just mentioned that one before.
The Day Before You Came, yes, yeah.
Yeah, and was it this song that you were comparing that to, or was
no, it was.
Am I right?
The lyrics of Am I Right? Yes.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that gets mentioned there.
Yeah, and there are other comments about ABBA in here, and it's very much kind of foreshadowing or telegraphing the fact that they end up doing an EP. Is very much ABBA on the brain, it seems, at this point.
I think they clearly wanted to reset things, didn't they, with this album? I think they possibly had a view that people knew what Erasure sounded like, and it was all becoming maybe formulaic. And so I understand why he said that. The record company wanted it to be a single, but he didn't because it was too Erasure-y. So I kind of get it philosophically. Yeah, because what the artist wants and what the label wants are often very different things, aren't they?
Yeah, and like I said, it's about what you're trying to accomplish. If he's trying to get people to understand that we can do more than just what you know us to do, this is not going to help with that argument.
Speaking about formulaic and going back to that review that you read for Chorus, Sarah, where they refer to Vince as like a cardboard cutout, that's just another example of people not thinking that Vince is interesting or takes risks, which goes back to that quote by Daniel Miller that we shared earlier. Vince is more dynamic than most people seem to give him credit for. Maybe Vince realizes that and understands that this song, Waiting for the Day, is too close to what people expect of him, and that's why he didn't want to release it.
Yeah.
The instrumental interlude that kicks off in the middle of the song around 2.5 minutes, it's amazing when I hear that now. I wonder what more I could have wanted from synthesizer music than that, because it sounds so perfect and so good, and it's everything I love about music now. It's crisp, clear, electronic, delightful. Young Brian was an idiot to not have fully embraced this track.
It shocks me to hear this. I don't think I knew this at the time, that you were not that happy with
I was
what you
so
were hearing.
disappointed in this album at the time. Yeah.
You had a funny way of showing it, since we talked about playing it all the time. Maybe you were trying to get yourself.
I was trying to learn to love it because I spent so many years worshiping at the altar of Erasure. I couldn't believe that I was not connecting with this record.
Which is why, in a way, it makes it so commendable in some respects. That it's very, very brave move, isn't it, for a group at their peak of their imperial period. That's a bit of a tongue twister. To do something so radically different. I guess if his goal was to challenge people's preconceptions of what Erasure was, then it did work. And I think that artists are often lumbered by their pasts, aren't they? I was, listening to a recent episode of the Hustle podcast, the interview with Stephen Duffy, where, he's now a folk musician, but people still think of him as that 80s synth pop kid who sang Kiss Me, and judge him for that. And I think that for artists, it must be so frustrating to, imagine if people judged us by what we were like 30, 40 years ago.
Right.
We're very, very different people. And as an artist who's constantly churning out music as Vince Clarke does, and we talked about earlier, he's very, very prolific. If people are saying, no, we're used to just can't get enough or don't go, well, he has evolved musically, sonically, and in terms of the people he's worked with will have had their mark on the songs as well. So, yeah, I think it was a brave but probably necessary thing to do. Not everything works out the way you want it to do, but it's still not a mistake. Look at the Pet Shop Boys with Release. That album is where they suddenly brought in acoustic instruments and toured around universities and things. It was a weird and unexpected thing for them to do. But I think similarly, they wanted to reset people's preconceptions.
That was the first time we ever saw the Pet Shop Boys live. So it was crazy to see an acoustic guitar on stage, but I was just happy to be there.
Yes.
So quick question. We have 2 minutes for bands that have imperial phases, for bands that we think of with imperial phases. How do those imperial phases, as a rule, seem to end? Do they more often end because the band keeps doing what people like, but the people get tired of it? Or the bands change in some way that then turns the people off, but the artists are happy and continue to grow?
I think if in terms of the Pet Shop Boys, just to kind of continue on with that as a slight aside, that they would probably argue something slightly differently, that for them, it was when they just did something a bit too risque that was too challenging for the commercial audience. I think it was the homoeroticism of the Domino Dancing video. They blame that for the downfall of that single's commercial success. And then I think once you've had one blip, it's hard to recover from that. So it's sad in a way that because what that does is it stops people being experimental. It encourages you to keep on churning the same thing out, because that's what the public gets, what the public wants. The public wants what the public gets, whichever way around it is. I don't know. It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because everything becomes boring eventually. So you do have to change. You do have to adapt, because music does that anyway. And all of any artists that you like is just one artist within a whole pop charts of different things. So you can have your own sound, but you certainly still have to adapt to what is current and modern, or you end up sounding old fashioned if you don't move.
So Vary is not part of not regarded as part of the Pet Shop Boys Imperial phase?
It probably isn't, no, because
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I always thought that was the end, that album marked the end. I didn't realize it ended before that.
I think Behavior was the end.
Yeah, because they dared to do something very different with that as well, didn't they? We're going off topic here, talking about Pet Shop Boys.
Yeah, Andy Bell is currently totally annoyed we're talking about the Pet Shop Boys. It's on an Erasure episode.
But I do think there are similarities on so many levels between the two duos, so it's hard not to do that. But they've both suffered similar fates.
All right, final shot here, last licks. All I'm going to say about this one is this song is clean, crisp, pleasant, melodic, and nice. All reasons I didn't like it at 20, but the exact reasons why I love it now. This is pop music at its finest.
I'd agree.
Right.
Nothing else to add.
Yeah, and my only comment, which I think I already said, was that I agree with the author of the Sound on Sound article. This would have made a great single, at least in the UK.
I totally agree. Vince didn't agree, though.
I don't think he disagreed. I think he didn't want that to happen.
He wanted more of a challenge.
Yes, he was being risky.
All right, so that brings us up to track number 3, the one that Andrew can't remember by its name, Joan.
I was actually trying to find it exactly as you said that. There it is, got it. Do you remember this song?
Oh, yeah. Starts with the words Power Generation. So this is a little snippet of Joan.
Blind vision, blind faith. You really can be sold if you dare to disagree. It's just not within the scheme of things to give up your life so easily. That's not the way you're meant to be. What a waste of time and energy. It's just not within the scheme of things to give up your life so easily. That's not the way you're meant to be. What a waste of time.
Okay, and the reason I remember it, Andrew, the reason why I never forget what Joan sounds like is because back in 1991, this was the first bit of light in the darkness for college-age me. Joan came in and washed over me and gave me hope that this album might indeed deserve a spot on my very limited CD storage shelf that I owned at the time. Because like I said, I didn't have a lot of CDs. And it's funny because when the song starts, it's mellow, it's slow, it's mature sounding, not that different from the previous song. And it features what I think is like a bird squawking in the background. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
So I wasn't impressed, but we then get that catchy pre-chorus with a bit of life to it. Blind vision, blind faith, that part. And then Vince finally wakes up, in my opinion, and we get that amazingly fat bass in the chorus. And that is what woke me out of my stupor. And to this day, I love the sounds of this song. That bass part, I was listening to this yesterday as I was driving, and my body just moves spastically. I don't even control it. Like, I time my weird body movements with each hit of that bass note. I love it. I love this song. I liked it in the day. I grew to love it over time. And listening to this album now, I think that this is probably another one of my very favorite Erasure songs of all time. So it hurts my heart to hear that my guru, Andrew Dineley, can't remember what this song is based by the name.
It's odd, isn't it? Because it's a song title. You're so used to it being named after a refrain or a word from the lyrics of the song. And
says the man who grew up listening to New Order.
Exactly, yeah, true faith.
But that we're used to. This is not a New Order song. I agree with you totally, Andrew.
Yeah, so I do love the song. I think it's a brilliant piece of pop with a terrible title. And I do apologize to anyone called Joan listening to this podcast, because I've not got anything against Jones in particular. But I think with song titles, here's a little exercise, a little intellectual exercise.
Okay.
When people are picking the title of their album, often they pick one of the songs, don't they? As Erasure did here. They picked choruses, and it was just one song on the album. And they could have called the album Am I Right? They could have called it Love to Hate You or Perfect Stranger. What if they called the album Joan? That would have just been stupid, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So if it's a stupid name for the album, then it's a stupid name for a song. And for me, it bears no relevance. Is it about Joan of Arc? I don't know. I've never actually read the lyrics to it or tried to understand them because I think musically it's so strong that he could be singing a shopping list and I'd still love it because it's, like you said, Brian, it's just really great piece of pop with a terrible title.
Would you have bought an album called Love to Hate You? If Erasure put out a record called Love to Hate You, how many people do you think would be turned off by that name?
I think it's it's angst-ridden, isn't it? It probably would have got a big goth, a lot of goths buying it.
Yeah, oh, what's this about? Oh, Love to Hate You.
Bit 9 Inch Nails, isn't it, really?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand why they called it Joan. It seems like a bad move. But...
Yeah, they should have called it Barbara.
Babs.
Babs. Oh, then I think it'd be about Barbara Streisand or something. So my little excerpt from Sound on Sound, I'd like to read that here because this is kind of interesting. An unusually funky beat sets this track quite apart from the rest of the album. Whereas every other track is solidly 4 on the floor, Joan is based on a pattern that could have been copied straight from a funky drummer style loop. And Vince says, that was quite a difficult track to do because I'm not used to those sort of rhythms. That's where Martin really comes into his own. He can look at, dissect a loop, and know which beats go where, whereas all my drum beats go dum, thwack, dum, thwack. I concentrate on the melodies, and the syncopation is in the music. For a lot of bands now, the track is the rhythm track and the chords, and that's it. It's not really my background.
Uh-huh. And there's no chords on this album, so he can
No.
fall back on those.
No, right. Once I read that about the beat, I did go back and listen to the song again, and he's right. I could see what he was talking about. This is a funky drum beat. It's definitely different than a typical Vince drum beat. It's funny, though, because when I looked at what Ange said about this, he says, Joan is a cracking little track, perhaps guilty of a rather uninspired drum beat, but still a very enjoyable track.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I love the drums in this one. You know what else I love? The very first seconds of this song, Andy's little introduction where he says, never tasted in a very breathy way. I seriously can't think of a vocalist at the time that I loved that could have pulled this off. It sounds so comfortable and so vulnerable at the same time. And it does kind of draw you into the song, like what is happening to make this person sing and sound like this. But like try to picture like the singer, my main singers at the time, Robert Smith, Bernie, Dave, and Neil. None of them could have pulled that off.
It's an oddity, that little bit, to me. I agree. I agree it fits in there, but it almost feels like it's been something that was a bit of an outtake that wasn't really supposed to be there, where he's almost like testing his microphone or something. It doesn't seem to fit with anything else. It's an unusual thing to do. And again, probably part of just them wanting to be weird, wanting to do something a bit different. Very commendable. Weirdness is good.
Yeah. One thing I did not notice until I was listening to this song for the podcast, but right around 2:30 in the musical interlude, right after he sings those high, da 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 da.
Yep.
Andy starts doing some more ad-libs in a super low voice. Super low. They're really quiet and really low, like do do bow. And he did it more melodically than that, but they're in there. And I never noticed those before. Did you guys know about them?
I don't know if I picked up on it.
It's probably best to listen with headphones. And there's like do do bow, and it's like really really cool, and it goes nicely with that bass that you love.
Oh, you know what? I think I did hear that when you just sort of sang it.
Yeah,
it did sound familiar. Yeah, but I will check it out. I was listening with earbuds, so I think I probably did hear it. Can I share something silly with you guys about part of the reason why I like this one a lot back in the day?
Oh, definitely.
Part of the reason that I liked it was that the first line of the song was power generation. And the reason I like that was because I bought this CD on October 14th, but 2 weeks earlier on October 1st, I bought Diamonds and Pearls by Prince and the NPG. And NPG, of course, stood for New Power Generation. And I was obsessed with that album. So the fact that Erasure was saying Power Generation, I was like, whoa, it's like a tie-in with the NPG. That's great. Like I seriously was excited about that, which shows you the brain power I was using at the time to process this album.
I hope you were just using the rest of your brain power on your college studies.
That must have been it.
Uh-huh.
NME said that Joan is disco gospel in its finest hour, crossed with T-Rex and Soft Cell sharing a gossipy cappuccino.
What?
I wrote, I don't know about all that. I may not be smart enough to grasp all of those references. I just know that I like what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's just writers being too clever for their own good.
Yeah, journalistic wankery, I think we'd call it.
That's another way to say it. Yeah. Gosh.
All right. Do we have any last licks for this song for Joan?
Not really, no.
I always have more to say, so I will
You
say
do.
that Joan was criminally overlooked when it came time to pick the third single. Joan should have gotten the go-ahead instead of Am I Right, which to me just does not sound like a pop hit. And to this day, I feel that this is a highlight of the band's massive catalog of songs. It's not a song that I would use to introduce somebody to Erasure, but it's one that I would play for them a few weeks later to cement their love of my favorite pop duo.
See, I think another reason it wasn't a single is because it was called Joan, and you couldn't say, I'm straight in at number 10, we've got Joan, because people would be saying, who's Joan?
Wasn't there a song called Peggy Sue?
Well, sure.
Pretty
Yeah,
Peggy
but
Sue.
like
That's not a very exotic name either.
Yeah, but
I
it's
guess
about Peggy Sue, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I mean, he says the name a million times, so.
That's true. I have problems not appreciating the name Joan. At the time, you're probably right. But since Mad Men aired, Joan from Mad Men, she's a very striking woman. And when I hear the name Joan, that's who I think of. So.
Oh, I don't think of anyone.
Really?
Maybe Joan Collins.
Joan Armour Trading, maybe.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about him. Yeah.
All right, we're going off the rails.
I'm gonna put 15 minutes on the clock, and we are going to talk about the next song, which is a single, the fourth single, and this is the track called Breath of Life.
So the song that is the most obvious single in many ways ends up being the last single to be released, which is a bit odd, isn't it? But then again, that's a theme. A recurring theme here is oddness. Do not necessarily do what people would expect.
Yeah, really.
Because this is such a catchy pop song and was a massive hit as well. And this was a song that I do remember this being played in clubs. I think by this point, what commonly happens with singles from albums is that you get diminishing returns, because more and more people have bought the album, so they're less likely to buy a single. And I think this possibly suffered from that. Although you'll probably tell me now it got to number 2 in the UK, but I don't remember its chart position. But another track that I loved, and I think it was possibly helped in terms of club playing. I remember there being tons of remixes of this. I think I bought the Japanese version of it, which had probably about 8 or 10 different remixes on it. And all of them were good. It's not like now where I sound like an old man, don't I? In the good old days, all the remixes were good, and now they're all terrible. But it's true.
I agree.
All of the remixes of this thing, I remember having that CD, and I'd play it through from start to finish, 8 or whatever mixes there were, and I don't recall skipping any of them. I also love the packaging with the big star and the dolphins. How can you not like dolphins?
I know.
I love dolphins. Looking at the packaging of that single over the past day or two, getting ready for this, it hit me that it looks like something that maybe would have been released by the Communards. Like if you take away the dolphin and just have the stars and the design of that, it looks like it could have been for the second album, like the Tomorrow single or something like that. Stars were very big in the 80s with graphic designers. Look at the Eurythmics, stars all over their stuff as well. Maybe it's just because I had the Japanese version, but I think of the design being quite Japanese somehow. I don't know, that kind of garish, very, very hyper-coloured, almost over-designed, but good for it. Yeah, I really like the packaging of it and like the single. And yeah, I'm still very fond of the song. And I think it's still even in their live sets, isn't it, this song?
I think that might be true. Yeah, I like the packaging as well. And I think it definitely calls your attention to it. It's very, very cool.
Just so you know, Andrew, it made it into the top 10 in the UK, Ireland, and Finland. So I can't give you an exact chart placing.
I can.
Okay.
8 on both the UK and Irish charts and 9 in Finland.
So it was pretty successful. It was the third single dropped off. Performance of the third single was not fantastic, but this one shot back up to the top 10. It was their 11th UK top 10.
Well, we'll come on to the third single later on, but I think that was more possibly to do with its timing as well, but we'll talk about that later.
Our chart magazine of choice, of course, in the time is Billboard magazine. And Billboard did review this song when it was released.
Oh, no way.
And they said, it's a pity that more club and radio programmers haven't taken note of the UK duo's cool recent project, Chorus. Perhaps this pulsating techno energy workout will bring more folks to the fold. As usual, Andy Bell's vocals are on target, giving depth to the song's clever wordplay. Give this one a shot.
Wow, that's a very nice and favorable review.
Mm-hmm. And originally, this was the highlight of the album for me. Not because it was my favorite song, it was my second favorite song on here, but because this had those Vince Clarke riffs that I was yearning to hear. And it was the closest thing in structure to something off of Wonderland or something that I thought of as Erasure. So this was a huge song for this album getting its hooks in me. That mid-song instrumental section where it's like do 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 do.
Yeah.
Has anything ever sounded more Vince Clarke than that?
I know.
Yeah. I wonder if this was the track or another track that the record company wanted to be a single, and by the end he just gave up and went, "Oh, all right then."
Yeah, I don't have notes on that, whether that was true. But I have a really interesting excerpt from the Sound on Sound article on this song. This guy, I agreed with him before, but now I don't, where he says, a fairly average workaday erasure number, but quite typical of the tracks on Chorus in its use of successive monophonic synth lines with sharp, blippy sounds and rapid chromatic runs up and down the keyboard to fill out the sound in the absence of chords. And Vince says, that was written right towards the end of the recording. We spent a lot of time getting the snare drum right. It sounds like a packet of crisps. And Andrew, I've been wanting to say this to you so long because you keep talking about crunchy sounds. And I thought, oh, you'll love this because he's saying exactly what you're saying. It sounds like a packet of crisps. He said, we used another sequencer, a 16-step ARP sequencer, which has a random generator on it. So it's got 16 steps and you can change the pitch and note on-offs, but it's got a random thing so that instead of going round and round, it'll just randomize. We used that for the middle 8 brassy riff. That's a case of you do it, then you do it again, until you get the one you like. Synth jazz, man.
I'll have to play that because I've never noticed the squashed bag of crisps or chips, as you call them in the USA. But I'll play it back later with my earphones on and listen.
And it's interesting when you talked about that brassy middle 8 section. That's where I have a note. Is Vince ripping off Martin Gore in the middle section? Because it sounds like something from A Broken Frame.
Yes, I have at 2:40. It sounds like Vince ran back to Basildon to borrow whatever synth Depeche Mode used on A Broken Frame.
Yeah, I was like literally playing My Secret Garden over and over again to see, like, did he actually rip off the line itself? Because it sounded so much like something from A Broken Frame.
That's funny. That review said it's the first line of that review said it's the most like typical erasure.
A fairly average workaday erasure number.
And then what's the next thing?
But quite typical of the tracks on Chorus.
Yeah, see, I agree with the first half of that, and I completely disagree with the second half of that. This does sound the most like Erasure, what I expected of Erasure at the time. But it's not typical of the rest of the album. If this was typical of the rest of the album, I would have loved this album.
Oh, I know.
So yeah, I disagree with that.
Yeah, this is such a classic Vince song right from the get-go. I mean, instead of those other two songs that are like starting with really weird songs, we got do 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 do.
Right.
I'm like, this is Vince. Okay, here we go.
I don't know if anyone's gonna agree or even understand this point, but I'm gonna say it and see what you guys think. I still really love this song, but I'm not convinced that the maturity found in the production and the programming of this album blends as well as I would like it to with this older style of songwriting. Even to this day, I find myself waiting for the chorus to kick it up a notch with something different, so like different drums, more energy, to lose some of the dignified atmosphere that works well in the verses. The closest other song that I can say that this reminds me of is I had a big problem at the time with their single Take a Chance on Me. I love the song Take a Chance on Me, but I thought that it was so restrained that Erasure's version could have been so much more fun, and that it was like they were afraid to really let loose with it. And if you understand that statement at all, I don't know if you do, But that's my problem with this song. I'm waiting for the chorus of this song to kick it up a bit from the verses. And that's what those two songs have always lacked for me and kept me from fully loving it, even though I do love this song.
I know what you mean. It's like the best songs have a lot of light and shade in them, don't they? And this song is quite flat. Sonically, there's not a lot of light and shade in it, but it's still nice. It still works. But there is almost a slight demo quality to it, as I think is certainly true with the ABBA one. And I think they've even admitted, haven't they, that it was recorded very quickly, the ABBA-esque EP, and maybe this was. Did you say earlier they recorded this song last? So
it was one of the last ones that they did. Yeah.
So maybe there was
right towards the end.
Possibly time was running out, or I don't know, but it still doesn't suffer for me. It's still a good song.
I agree. I just think that for as much as I do love this one, I could love it even more if they had just, you said it very well, the light and shade, if they had blended it a little better.
I have feelings like that, but not about this song on the album. It's another one that I would probably compare it to instead.
Lyrically, I really like this one. Like it's not too often that I am really blown away by Erasure lyrics, but I think that I really dig this one a lot. I can see like this song, the words kind of connecting with young adults who maybe listened to Erasure at the time, just because, it's, at least as my reading of it, it's someone who's never stood up for themselves or stood for much or really ever attempted to connect with anyone. And they're deciding now that they're going to do that very thing. They're going to make a change. And I kind of like that. So did you guys watch the video for this one? This is a good video because this is the one where Andy Bell's hair is trimmed and reined in.
Back under control.
Yep.
It's kind of got an Alice in Wonderland theme to it.
Vince is dressed as a turtle.
The mock turtle. Yeah. So Andy's sitting in a darkened room at a table, and the girl comes in through the window, kind of looks like Alice in Wonderland. They go through this kind of almost like a cavernous looking place. And then there's a Queen of Hearts. We've got a caterpillar smoking a hookah, which I think is Vince. I'm not sure because there's so much makeup and it's a costume. But then we do see him again later as the sad mock turtle. There's a couple of snippets earlier in the video where it's just Vince's head and he's kind of smiling slyly. And I was wondering if that's him trying to impersonate the Cheshire Cat.
Oh.
But he's got a really cute look on his face. He's kind of,
It's quite elaborate, really, isn't it? With all the animals and the different sets and things. And
wasn't there like swimming in it too? Weren't there?
Well, yeah. And I don't know if it's Andy, but it kind of looks like Andy going underwater. Like when they first leave the room and then go down the hallway and then he goes into the water. Yeah.
When I first see Andy in this video, initially I'm relieved that his hair looks better, but I was struck by the fact that he looks exactly like if you took the kid from the movie Love Actually and just doubled his mass, like made his body twice as big. He looks just like that little kid to me.
Oh my gosh. Must be the hair.
Maybe.
It's almost got a similar sort of camp quality to it as the Heavenly Action video, hasn't it? With all the children.
Yeah, the little children. Yeah. They're kind of back towards more being more whimsical. I mean, I know Chorus video had whimsy in it too, but this one much more so, I think.
I think Vince's crazy mad scientist odd moving performance in Chorus kind of kills some of the whimsy because he's so bizarre the way he's dealing with the synth. He's just thrusting his arms and stuff. I think this one is much more successful in being whimsical.
Well, yeah, anytime you've got Vince dressed as a turtle, yeah.
I think this is a good Erasure video. It doesn't get boring. It's pretty typical for an Erasure video, but when I was watching it, I once again find myself wishing that these two guys had just lucked into working with somebody like Tim Pope or Anton Corbin, who could have like guided them through videos so they could have had a period of consistently good videos. That's the one thing they just never managed to acquire.
Yeah, this one is directed by Angela Conway, who also made videos for EMF and the Smashing Pumpkins. She does another one for them for Chorus, but even on this album, they don't have a consistent director for videos.
Yeah, and Mallet is so busy that he's not going to take a band under his wing. He's
right.
All over the place.
This is one of my favorite songs on the album.
So to me now, this is a blend of two different Erasure eras trying to please fans of both, and I mostly love it. However, 32 years later, like I said, I still haven't broken myself of the desire for that chorus to really let loose and to just elevate itself. I don't know exactly what I want from it, but I just want it to be just a tad more awesome. That's all the details I can give you, Vince. See what you can do with that. All right, so we are up to the last track on side one. This was the third single, and it's called Am I Right?
Look at all the lonely people walking miles around the town. I can see the old cathedral, but I have to play it down. Boats are on the river, setting up the sails, and life carries on as normal, although you're not around. Waiting at the bus stop, laughing off the rain, shaking their umbrellas till it starts again. Flowers in the water, floating off downstream. Paper in the gutter.
Okay, yeah, this was the third single released in the UK and other countries, but this one was not released in the US. So,
yeah, that's right. That's something
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I guess that because of the fact that Erasure's US success was always on the dance floor, the US label probably said, what's the point?
Right. I think that was probably a smart move on their part. They did release Breath of Life. So for us, that was the third single in the US. And here in the UK, Am I Right was the third single, released on November 25th, 1991. And then just a few weeks later, they released it again as an EP. And I don't understand why they did that. Why did they release a single and then an EP just a few weeks later? Andrew, can you shed any light on this for me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good.
So what happened there was, and I talked about this earlier about this single not doing. I talked about diminishing returns from singles released from albums, and I think this was a victim of that. But also, the timing was bad because it was Christmas. So Christmas, you get a lot of novelty singles. Everyone wants to be the Christmas number one. So it's just a really unusual time of the year to release a single for a band like Erasure, maybe, who aren't necessarily wanting a Christmas number one. I suppose they did with Crackers International, didn't they? So maybe they did want a Christmas number one, but maybe Am I Right wasn't the right track to do that with, because it's not very Christmassy. So what they did was they reissued it in Christmas packaging. With them. So it was very...
Oh, you're right. I never picked up on that's what it is.
Let me see. Oh, there's this tree on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So...
Oh, gosh.
So, same track, but just put it in some pretty packaging, some Christmas packaging, and people will buy it for people for Christmas because they're very, very different, the covers as well, aren't they? If you look at the original single design,
right.
Uses one of those stock images that we talked about at the start of the podcast. The Christmas one is just pure Christmas. So that was why it was reissued, I think, to give it a bit of a kick up the charts to kind of capture the Christmas audience. But the tracks on it weren't Christmassy, were they? So it had an exclusive B3, which is just a very experimental electronic dancey club song.
Well, on the limited edition 4-track CD, the other songs were actually some of the previous hits. Love to Hate You, a mix of that, a mix of chorus, and a mix acoustic mix of Perfect Strangers. So they were even tacking on previous songs that were big hits to try to get you to buy this. Now, the reason I know that, and the reason I have it in my hand right now, is because years ago, we were sent this CD from a friend of the show who said, why don't you guys give this away the next time you talk about Erasure? And this is the next time we were talking about Erasure. I've had this for years.
Yeah.
And here's the embarrassing thing. I can't find the email of the person who sent it to me. I have all the emails. I've never deleted an email from the podcast, but I've tried searching through all my folders, for Am I Right and Prize and all these, and I can't find it. So I'm super embarrassed. But if you are the person that kindly sent this to us to give it away, shoot me another message and remind me so I can thank you here on the podcast, and keep listening to the podcast at the end, because we're going to give you the details on how you could win this CD along with one of our cool limited edition shirts that we recently had made. So sorry to interrupt the flow of conversation, but I had to say
that's okay. Yes, that's right. So it contained remixes, didn't it? The Christmas re-release version contained remixes. I suppose they were trying to cash in on previous singles that way, because the original version of the single had extra tracks, which they feel like they could have been on the album as well. I think Erasure was so prolific and releasing such high quality material that Let It Flow, Waiting for Sex, and an Am I Right remix. Is that right? Am I right? Carry On Clangers as well. So 3 brand new songs. As a fan, this was just this made my Christmas, certainly.
I remember as a young man, I wasn't very much of a prude, but I remember being a little shocked by the fact that there was a song called Waiting for Sex.
Yeah.
I always thought that was a shocking name.
In the grand scheme of things Andy Bell's done in his career, that's probably quite tame, isn't it?
Yeah, really.
For sure.
So the NME at the time said that this song is, quote, the the most melodramatic and ridiculous of Torch songs, and commented on the slow, morbid chorus and Bell's appallingly pitched vocals. So they really did not like this. And you know what? At the time, I would have been all in on the support of that review, because I didn't really like this song either, because it was too slow. And for years, I think I did not listen to this song. I would skip it every single time. And then at whatever point I got to where I finally said, like, I love the rest of this album now, I should start listening to this song. My memories of it were not at all what the song actually is. The beginning where there's like no percussion and it's Andy, like a man in his 20s. My memories were that the song was that way the entire way through. But it does so many cool things. This is a great sounding track, and it has such a nice Erasure drum section to it. It doesn't have an Erasure gallop, but it sounds like Erasure. This is a great song. I wasted years where I could have been appreciating this one. It makes me mad.
I think even the intro is just beautiful. That choral sound in the intro and all the little lovely electronic sound. The intro reminds me of Souvenir by OMD, that choral effect. I really like it. I really like the song.
I often talk about how I like how songs evolve. And I often talk about Paul McCartney, how Band on the Run evolves. It changes and goes through sections. This doesn't do that to that great extent, like Band on the Run. But I do love the way this song does change as it goes. It takes you through a number of emotions and paints different sonic pictures in your head just based on the sound. It's very impressive. I'm so glad that I actually hit play on it now.
I remember you complaining about how Andy would sing the line, "A man in his 20s." I remember you having a problem with that.
I thought it sounded creepy. I remember thinking, like, his voice sounds creepy in that part. I don't like this. And I was astounded that, like, a band who released singles like Drama and Chains of Love, these awesome songs that just sound great coming out of your speakers in your car driving around listening to the radio. I couldn't believe that they picked this as a single.
Well, you're not the only one who thought that, because the Sound on Sound article says essentially the same thing. He says the album's third single, perhaps an odd choice, as it's not as good a slow song as Home. Still, it recalls the dignified, mournful atmosphere of Circus quite effectively. What do you think about that?
Oh, Circus? I wouldn't say it sounds like Circus, but it's the same sort of song, maybe.
Same kind of atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it has more in common with You Surround Me. I think it's much more.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Those sort of swirling electronic sounds and the brooding kind of the way it builds. And also the time of year it was released as well. That was another pre-Christmas single.
Oh, right. Yeah, I could see that.
Well, they say it's not as good a slow song as Home.
Right.
Very few songs, period, are as good as Home.
Well, yeah.
Fast or slow. So that's an unfair comparison right there.
And what Vince says about this is funny. He says, that was crying out for chords, but I decided I couldn't do that. So it has similar sounds interweaving to make chords, and it sounds more like a muted brass section, I think. That worked out really well because we weren't too sure about the song, but it's got a nice feel. The bell sound at the end is a Korg MS-20.
I can't think of what that sound is in my head, but
no, I think there are other bell sounds, and I don't know if it's the same ones. I always thought that the ones that come in when he's singing, "Am I right? Am I wrong? Or am I just dreaming?" They sound almost off key to me. I don't know why. They just sound a little bit out of tune.
Are they appallingly pitched?
Well, they might be, but not him, not Andrew.
Okay.
Not Andrew. Not Andrew either. Andy or Andrew.
The musical sound in this that I get a kick out of is like around 3 minutes. I called it the full stop sound effect. There's that part where it just is like, wow.
Yeah.
I love that part.
After the second chorus, 255. Yeah. Do you know what that makes me think of?
Nope, I don't know.
Well, you should, because this is why I sent it to you in a Facebook message yesterday. I sent him the video for Paul Hardcastle's 19.
Oh, yeah.
The part where they say, none of them received a hero's welcome. And it goes, it's like 237 to 239 in the song. So, you know, that sound reminds me of the sound here in at 255.
I can see that.
I'm really technical exclamation.
That sound is just so crazy. And it sounds out of place in the song, but I love it being there.
I know the bell sound that you're talking about, though. That's at the end, because it's just a single kind of gong sort of that comes in every maybe 8 bars or 16 bars. And it's kind of a bit spooky, but the song is all I think the song's a bit spooky, isn't it? A bit, and the video is a bit spooky. I wonder if, because I remember when the video came out and I recognized, because I've been to Amsterdam quite a few times in the Netherlands, and it's all filmed because I think Andy or Vince lived there, didn't they, at that time? One of them lived in Amsterdam at the time.
Yeah, Vince did.
Yeah. When we stayed in Amsterdam, we stayed right by where Anne Frank lived. You know the story of Anne Frank. Yeah.
Of course.
There's a famous church right by where she lived that I think she refers to in the diaries. She hears the bell ringing in the church. And I remember lying in bed in our apartment in Amsterdam and hearing that same bell and just feeling how that felt really strange to think that you're hearing the same sound that she heard, because it's such a horrific story and so uncomfortable, isn't it? It's just horrible. And then hearing that bell on that song that was filmed in Amsterdam, I did wonder whether there was that connection. Is that why they filmed it there, or is it just coincidence?
Well, I don't know, but now that makes me wonder about the line. I can see the old cathedral, but I have to play it down. Maybe he's seeing that church and he's thinking about those very things you're thinking about and talking about. And maybe he's like, I've got to compose myself and I've got to get by it. I never knew what that line was about. And I could still be wrong, but maybe perhaps it was that.
Because it's right by the Homo Monument as well in Amsterdam on the riverside, because Amsterdam's just full of canals. And one of them, there's a giant pink triangle that juts out into one of the canals, which you actually see in the video. So I do wonder whether it's coincidence or by design that it was all filmed there, and the sort of sadness of the song. And it has to be by design, I guess.
Yeah, I would think so. I didn't know about that monument until I started researching the video. So that just opened in just a few years before the video. That monument was created and then I guess opened in September of 87. And that was designed to commemorate all people around the world who have been persecuted due to their sexual orientation. Andy has never hid who he is. Like, I love Culture Club and I love Boy George, but even Boy George, who, you look at Boy George and it seems like common knowledge, you should know Boy George's sexual orientation. He even tried to downplay it when he came out, and Andy said, I'm never going to do that. So it's no surprise that Andy would incorporate something like that into one of their videos.
Yeah, George famously preferred a cup of tea, didn't he?
Right. And somebody asked him if he was bisexual, and he said, like, do I have to buy, if I want sex, I have to buy it? But even before I knew that, I thought that this was a worthwhile video beforehand, just as an Erasure video. The way it's filmed and the way it's edited, the scenes, the way that they put it all together, it keeps your interest, I think, even if it is just Andy sort of walking around.
Vince floating by on a sailboat.
Yeah. It's almost like Where's Waldo? You're looking in the background for Vince all the time. Where's he going to be next?
Well, Vince famously hates making videos as well, doesn't he? So it's kind of, I suppose, to be expected that his involvement will be much more casual, because he's said many times he absolutely hates promo videos.
Yeah.
Which is why it's all the more surprising, actually, that in Breath of Life earlier they managed to get him to dress up as a mock turtle or whatever.
I know. When he goes in, he does usually go all in. He's very game for it. Yeah.
Like, isn't he dressed like a cactus in one of their concert videos? Like, he actually has a costume on, his head and arms coming out. He's dressed like...
Yeah, I can't think which one. That might be for Cowboy.
Maybe Vince loves doing that. Maybe Vince has these ideas too, but I always just assume it's Andy's coming up with ideas and Vince goes along. That
like Chris, right? In Pet Shop Boys. He's kind of along for the ride and does whatever. He's gotten himself into some rather unusual costumes and hats and things.
Because he has said he enjoys dressing up in drag as well, hasn't he, for the ABBA stuff, and obviously right at the beginning for Who Needs Love Like That. He's maybe just the process of video production that's so time consuming and so many repeats. And
that is exactly it, because in that same Mexican video, or the Mexican talk show, they talked about videos, and they said, it's always, they got to get up early, it's 2 extra days that they have to do, they have to pretend to be actors, which they're not. Those were the things that they discussed about not liking videos. I want to say one more thing, and it just has to do with the video, because I just thought this was very bemusing. As Andy sings "Life Carries On as Normal" in the video, a bicyclist goes off the road into the water. So I don't know if that's ironic or if it's possible that people go off the side of the road into the water all the time.
All right. Well, my last licks, I'm going to try to leave this podcast on a cliffhanger ending here, Sarah and Andrew. So here's what I'm going to say about this one. This song and the next two are the ones that really have me stymied when I think back to how I reacted to them at the time of release. I can't comprehend how and why I thought about them the way I did. I've gone a full 180 on each track, and I can't figure out what I was thinking in 1991. Then I had a thought. Actually, part of the problem, and here's where I'm going to leave you guys on a cliffhanger, is I'm going to present you with an image of Brian that if you've listened to the podcast for a while, you would never think would exist. But I thought about 1991. And at that point in time, I was very actively listening to new albums by Styx, Bad Company, and Ted Nugent's band Damn Yankees. And I had long hair, I wore a bandana, and I'm wondering, could I have been a hard rocker in 1991 and not even known it?
You didn't know it.
And that's where I'm going to leave it.
Cue the shame on you.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
And you left out Queensryche.
Oh, yeah, Queensryche Empire.
Yeah.
I sound like someone I wouldn't even want to hang out with.
Hey, and I was hanging out with you. What was I thinking?
Goodness.
So that's the image of Brian I want to leave folks with, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks, and we'll pick up right there.
Oh boy.
So Andrew, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate your time and your input and all your great memories for this album. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you for asking me. I look forward to doing the next 5 tracks because there's some gems still to be uncovered there as well.
That's the definite truth. Yeah, so we're leaving everybody on a bit of a cliffhanger, Sarah. Me, 1991, I am a hard rockin' SOB.
Not at all like what I'm looking at right now.
No, not at all. But you know what? If you want to see what I look like, check out the show notes for this episode, because I dug up an old picture. I mentioned in here that I had long hair and wore a bandana.
Yep.
Well, I was interviewed by the newspaper when I was dressed up like that, and they took my picture and it was in the paper. So I have a little picture of me at that time period.
Photographic evidence of you as a rocker.
That I threw in the show notes so you can see, point, and laugh.
Yeah.
The one thing I want to clear up, just because, in my opinion, Ted Nugent is a despicable person. And I mentioned in the episode I listened to Ted Nugent's Damn Yankees, just because that's sort of how the music press always refers to them here in the United States. I listened to the Damn Yankees because of Tommy Shaw from Styx.
Yes.
Styx, as you guys all know, is one of my favorite bands. And Tommy Shaw, lead guitarist and lead singer from Styx, was in the Damn Yankees along with the aforementioned kind of trashy guy, Ted Nugent. So I'm not a Ted Nugent fan. I don't mind if people know that I was listening to some hard rock, but I don't want anyone to think I was a Ted Nugent fan.
Okay. That's where you draw the line.
Exactly.
Okay.
Line is drawn.
All right.
So we mentioned that we have an Erasure memory.
Yes, we
sent
do.
To us, which is always great. We love to play stuff from you guys, your memories of these songs and these records, and it's just fun for us to hear, other people's experiences.
Absolutely.
So this one is from our friend. He's called in before. He always has good memories of records, and this is James from London.
Hello, Brian and Sarah. It's James from London. Firstly, I massively enjoyed catching up with your wild pod, I should say, and then listening to your opening chorus episode. Glad to see, Brian, that we're both brothers in regarding You Surround Me as a brilliantly crafted song. I love it. So my main memory of chorus is walking around a shopping centre in Harrow, which is in London, at Sixth Form College, 17 years old, when the single Chorus was riding high in the charts and being played extensively on the radio. I think I was singing Chorus's praises when my fellow Erasure-loving student was quite peeved with the line, "And the fishes in the sea have gone to sleep." It was a grammatical aberration. "It's fish, not fishes," she said. And later on in that same conversation, she was also disappointed that I abbreviated the singer Morrissey to Mozza. I guess she was just a stickler for the English language. So regarding the album, I was not especially into chorus at that time because I didn't find it as musically immediate or diverse as Wild. So I was looking for that sparkly fun of 2,000 Miles and the moody and affecting piano song and the grandiose nature of Crown of Thorns. So I found the album wanting. True enough, I found Breath of Life, Am I Right, and Chorus, all outstanding songs. But in reality, I've probably listened to the album only a handful of times. But with more and more repeated plays, I think I like it a bit more, but still don't have that affection for this album as much as Wild. So yeah, just to say, I'm really looking forward to your next installments on this album. So thank you very much and take care.
Well, thank you, James, for your wonderful message. It's so good to hear from you always, because we really like hearing what you have to say about your memories. Very interesting that he wasn't a really big fan of chorus. I guess you could probably relate to that, Brian.
I can relate to that, as you know, if you've listened to the episodes. But here's what I'm going to say to James. He said that, he's only listened to it a handful of times over the years because of that.
Mm-hmm.
I would encourage him to break it out a little more often and give it a listen because, like I have said, I did a complete 180 on it. I think this album is fantastic. I'm not going to give it my ranking for the next episode, but it is in my top 3 Erasure albums of all albums. I think this one's really good, and I think if you give it a chance, you might come around to it.
Yeah, and I loved his comment about his friend being very annoyed about the fishes in the sea. I love that too. Yeah, it's funny. I thought that would come up among the 3 of us when we talked about the song, and it didn't. I think maybe because we were under the time constraint. But I thought, well, we should probably mention that, but it never came up. So thank you for bringing it up, James.
For some reason, the fishes thing doesn't bother me as much as like Grammar and some other songs. There's a song on like the last Duran Duran album where he says I instead of me.
Mm-hmm.
That one really bugs me for some reason, but I don't know what it is. The fishes. I mean, when I was listening to this in college, I was an English major.
Yeah.
My degree is in English education. Even back then, as a hoity-toity college student who liked diagramming sentences, I wasn't really turned off by fishes.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I know it's wrong, but it's poetic license, right?
And James, I'm 100% with you on You Surround Me. You Surround Me to this day is still one of my very favorite of all Erasure tracks. That's an incredible song. Wild is very, very diverse. Like you said, at this stage of my life, I think Wild is a little too diverse. And I think that it's not a positive, it's sort of a weakness. But You Surround Me is incredible. One of their best songs ever.
It's a lovely song. Yes, I agree.
So we thank you for taking the time to call in and give us your memories on Erasure Chorus. We love having these memories because it makes it seem sort of like an event when other people share stuff that we can then play.
Right. Yeah.
It just makes it seem like a bigger thing.
I agree. Yeah. Getting outside opinions and memories. It's always good.
So if you would like to get an Erasure memory in just under the wire for the last episode, like I said, we have one already from our friend Mark that we're going to play next time. But if you have one you want to get in, you can call us at 724-490-8324. Or you can do what James and Mark did and log into speakpipe.com/permrecordpod. And you can record a 90-second message there on the website. And if you need more time than 90 seconds, just load it again and send a second message. That's actually what James did. And I just edited it together into one message.
Well, that was very
I'm
very
just
good.
That good, folks.
Yeah,
you probably couldn't even tell that was 2 messages.
No, I couldn't tell.
Yeah. So don't forget about that. Don't forget about the giveaway. Shoot us that email for the Erasure giveaway by November 4th, Saturday, November 4th. And thanks again to Andrew Dineley for joining us on this episode. We are going to get back in touch with him and schedule our next recording session to finish up this record and get that out to you as soon as we can. We have no reviews to read this time, Sarah. No one left us any reviews.
Okay.
Woe is us.
Oh, no.
We're feeling very unloved.
Oh, no.
We're also feeling unloved because we created social media accounts on Threads and Blue Sky.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why we did. 3 social media sites wasn't enough. We had to have 5.
Yeah.
So we're feeling very unloved on those sites. So if you find that you have an account on Threads or Blue Sky and want to give us a follow, feel free to check us out there and make us feel a little more loved.
Yes, we would like some friends out there. The more friends you have, the better, right?
Hope you guys have a great week. I'm going to go get out of the suit, but I think I'm going to leave the black nail polish on for a couple days since we're seeing Depeche Mode on Monday.
Yes.
Might as well have black nails for Depeche Mode.
Absolutely.
We will talk to you guys next time. Have a great one.
Take care.
Back to me. Come back to me. Come on back to me. Help me make it through the night. I don't apologize. I'm just feeling lonely, all mixed up inside. Won't you help me dry my tears? Help me roll away the years. Then perhaps I will forgive you, and the hurt will disappear. But in a fit of blind arrogance, you got up and walked away. Oh, the day but you. Oh, come back to me. Come on back to me. You. Oh, for the day, but you